We got everyone was talking about the Florida Gators and LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Florida, it was close
Early.
and then a little bit close up to the halftime, and then
Yeah, they were tied at half.
yeah, so Florida ended up losing 28-42.
Too many mistakes.
Yeah,
I mean, but Joe Burrow for LSU, passed for 293 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean,
a QBR of 231.3.
Right.
That's pretty good.
he's up there with the front runners for the Heisman because these SEC players are going to get all that, whether they deserve it or not. But he's certainly brought a new dimension to the LSU offense that we haven't seen in years and years. The quarterback position. I mean, just so dynamic. But this one was close, like you said, for a while. I mean, Trask, for Florida, he was 23 of 39, 310 yards, three touchdowns. But it was the interceptions and it was the fourth down runs and stuff that were just terrible. Just costly. But LSU started off the scoring with a Jamar Chase 9-yard pass from Joe Burrow, put him up 7-0. And then Trayvon Grimes come back with a 5-yard pass from Kyle Trask to even it up at 7. In the second quarter, Justin Jefferson, 7-yard pass from Joe Burrow, put LSU up 14-7. Then LaMichael Pirine, 1-yard pass from Emory Jones to put it 14-14. And then LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 39-yard run and put them up 21-14. And then with 4 seconds left, Van Jefferson's 6-yard pass from Kyle Trask knotted everything up at 21, so they went into halftime 21-all. And then Florida come out with Van Jefferson 2-yard pass from Kyle Trask beginning of the third quarter, put them up 28-21. And then, LSU just pulled away after that. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 5-yard run, put them up 28-28. Then Tyron Davis-Price, 33-yard run for LSU. Then the fourth quarter, Jamar Chase, 54-yard pass from Joe Burrow, and put them up 42-28. Game just seemed closer, but just these mistakes, that were made. The fourth down tries and they were 1 of 2, but they were just costly. Like instead of running, they would pass for it when they had less than a yard, and third downs they were 9 of 7 on third downs was Florida, but LSU didn't get many third down positions. They were 1 of 4.
Wow.
Yeah. The first downs, Florida had 28, LSU 22, but LSU just stayed ahead of the chains. Total yards, 511 for LSU, 457 for Florida. Gators had 311 yards passing, LSU 293. Rushing, Florida had 146 yards, LSU 218. Penalties were same. Like I said, there was only one turnover. 38 minutes of time possession for Florida. But Florida was, using multiple quarterbacks and stuff, and just the mistakes.
It's funny. It's like we were talking about how many people watched like the Wake Forest game was like what
20.
Yeah, this game
100.
102,321 people. That is almost 4 times. It's just this was the game of the night. There were so many good games on that night. You got you had the Notre Dame game playing the same time frame about. Then the LSU was going against the Yankee game. I hate to say it that way, and so the viewership was kind of cut in half. Where I was at, it was like one game had the LSU, the other game had the Yankees. So, but it was a good win for LSU. Did they move up in the poll?
Of course they did. They beat a ranked team, so they felt obligated to put them at 2. So SEC teams 1 and 2.
So
Yep.
So what other game you want to talk about?
Last one, let's talk about the top-ranked team in the country, Alabama versus Texas A&M. I mean, you knew what it was going to be. Maybe this will put Texas A&M out of the top 25 for a while. I mean, much as the pollsters want to put them there, they're not very good. And Alabama was real good on this night.
Yeah, that was an interesting game. It was totally lopsided.
Look at the crowd on that one, too.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. How many people? Let's see. 106,749 people.
A&M supports their team now.
Yeah. But, just a little too late. Alabama out 47-28.
Yeah.
Typical Alabama football, slow and steady, I guess you want to call it.
It is methodical in what they do, but Tua Tagovailoa, he had 4 touchdowns, and I mean threw for 293 yards, four TDs, 1 interception. I think he's got the all-time touchdown mark right now for Alabama. But Kevin Mond was 24-42 for A&M, 264 yards, 2 TDs. Mond was also the leading rusher, so that tells you something's not good right there. 16 carries, 90 yards. Smith was the leading receiver for Alabama, 7 receptions, 99 yards. I mean, those are NFL guys. Harris, the leading rusher for Alabama, 20 carries for 114 yards. This one was just Alabama just got on them and stayed there,
This isn't the first time that A&M, has choked. They had Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, what they did, they're not good. People were trying to make them out to be good. You saw early on they couldn't even score a touchdown versus Clemson. Clemson had pulled their starters, and then A&M kept calling timeouts and trying to get a touchdown, but they're just not very good. And people want to keep putting them there, but they did move the ball a little. I mean, they had 389 yards on Alabama. They had 264 passing. But their rushing yards, they only had 125, but they averaged 4.5 yards a carry. Penalties, I mean, Alabama had 11 penalties for 91 yards. Both teams had 1 turnover. Alabama only had 293 yards passing, A&M 264. So this one was just, Alabama just has more talent than Texas A&M. I know Jimbo Fisher, just keeps... wait till I get my players, blah, 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 all this, but...
I mean, the yards per play for Alabama was 6.9,
yeah,
and A&M was 5.6.
Yeah. It was just, they were outclassed. You knew they were going to be outclassed, but when they come to play at Kyle Field down there, you knew there was going to be a big crowd. I mean, because that's a huge stadium, and like I say, if you're ever in the Texas area and you get to go to a college football game and you're trying to pick, go watch Texas A&M. I'm not a Texas A&M fan at all, but their game day atmosphere is really, really awesome. You need to check it out at least once. If you're a college football fan and you like going to see other teams, that's one you need to go see. Well, that's our Week 7 recap on college football.
Yeah, that was an interesting week. We have some great games coming up this next week, and we'll talk about them later on. Well, guys, that is our show. This has been Jim and Mike talking about college football outcome. Make sure you like our page on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you listen to us on all the podcast platforms: Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker. Pretty much you can find us anywhere. This is the VIP Sportsnet College Football Recap Show. You guys have a great day.